So if you would tilt it upwards a little bit, if you would. There we go.
Came just before the shrimp. It's a relative of the shrimps called a Malacus straka. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the two valves, and then an animal would live in there that was kind of similar to a shrimp.
Pyrite on it.
Not frost.
Oh, it is a golden trilobite.
Golden trilobite.
A golden trilobite.
I think I won.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello everybody, welcome to Fossil Hunting and Collecting with Chris. We're going to be heading up into the central portion of New York State to look for some Devonian fossils. The fossils here are part of what used to be an inland sea, much like we see behind us, a fairly shallow inland sea in the upper part of New York State, roughly 400 to about 350 million years ago. The fossils in this area are what's part of what's known as Mahantango Formation, which also runs through Pennsylvania and further south through a lot of the eastern states. It is once again part of a very large shallow sea which once existed during the early Devonian in our region. So before we start our trip to look at the beautiful fossils of central New York, I'm going to ask that if you like these fossil videos to go ahead and give me a thumbs up, or better yet, even hit that subscribe button below. Subscribing doesn't cost anything, but it will make fossil hunting and collecting type videos pop up more in the YouTube feed. I like fossil videos, I hope you do too. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll keep making more videos for you to watch. Thank you. We're seeing a beautiful view. I think of this as the Hudson Valley below, on our way to central New York. If we look at the map, we can see that both of these sites are going to be in what I believe is the Ludlow Formation. Ludlow Formation is about the middle of the Middle Devonian, so pretty much the center of the Devonian, probably about 380 million years, somewhere in that time frame. We're seeing a lot of Middle Devonian fossils. We're seeing a good representation of brachiopods, and some trilobites, some cephalopods, some gastropods as well, and many bivalves. So quite an active zone here. We do not see as much of corals. There's a couple of corals here and there. We're not seeing a whole lot of the horn corals. We are seeing some colonial corals. So once again, not very shallow. The corals, horn corals, were dependent on the sunlight, but stuff that's a little bit deeper, but not extreme depth. Okay, we arrived at site number 1. This is farm. Well, and this was in the fall. This was in October. We're going to be looking for a lot of different Devonian fossils over here. Pretty much the whole realm of what you find in the water. The rocks here are pretty well covered with fossils, so I'll be able to bring home a lot of stuff for my students. The Devonian Sea has a lot of the phyla, a lot of the creatures that we see in modern times, although much earlier versions, and in some cases different species were much more prevalent. You get lots and lots of brachiopods. Brachiopods are still around, but you don't see them quite as much. They're more in the Arctic and deep sea. They were much more prevalent during the Devonian. We're also seeing a lot of gastropods, a lot of snails, cephalopods, and bivalves. So the mollusk family is very well represented. When we're lucky, we see some trilobites, which were the predominant arthropods of the day. And in this case, in the Middle Devonian, there's a good chance we might also find some Phylocaris, which were a early version of shrimp. These fossils are looking really beautiful with the frost on them. Unfortunately, that's not going to stay. Okay, so after just a few minutes of collecting, Mike has found evidence of a really big trilobite. Okay, so he has a diplora here. We can actually see part of the shell right here. Yeah. That's probably part of the beginning. Might be head or tail, I'm not really sure.
And this looks like...
Yep, some of the thoracic
thorax. Yeah. All right.
Good start. You just have to find the other half now.
Yeah.
Mind if I take a peek?
Oh, please do.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at my book to identify that one.
All right. So, whoops, almost fell. We're looking at, Ken has found two really nice mucus burifers. What's really good about these is just a really great preservation. So they are very distinctive brachiopod from the lower to mid-Devonian, maybe a little bit further, but very nice find. Thank you for showing us that.
You bet.
Here, look over here.
Oh yeah.
So this was a big boy. It's probably
and she says, "Oh no,
so big.
Ray just said that to
Very
you.
Cool.
It was just a joke." And she says,
and you can see
"No,
the.
we saw the alligator."
Of course, you can see the texture over here.
Uh-huh.
I told you
And these the well,
Yeah.
I call them ribs, but they're what do we call it? The
Plura.
Yeah.
They call plura.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so now
We have to eat
Abby,
it?
sure. Abby has found a nice little straight cephalopod. It's probably, I'm thinking an Orthoceras probably. Nice little, well, a very good example of a Ordovician, not Ordovician, a Devonian cephalopod. Nice find. What you're seeing here is a stratigraphic column of some of the formations that are in the area. They're all part of the Mahantango formation, and I think we're in the Ludlow member of the Mahantango formation. It could be Moscow, but the best I can interpret the map is that this is all going to be Ludlow on both of the properties that we're looking at. This stratigraphic column is a good key to give you an idea of what you might find, and very often they indicate where the fossils are as well. They'll tell you whether it's siltstone, limestone, and or conglomerate, whatever type of sedimentary rock is out there. And you can use it as kind of a map, and if we're really lucky, the horizons with the fossils are indicated on these stratigraphic columns as well. Very good thing to look for if you know you're going to be hunting for fossils in a particular area. Most of these formations are pretty well documented. Okay, so I'm sorry, Dennis?
From Michigan.
So it looks like Dennis here, you found a nice macropleura. I'm thinking it's a macropleura, it looks big enough. Mm-hmm. And yeah, to say you're prepping it out would probably make it nicer, but really good example of one of those. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with us. I like this version of the Brachiopod family tree by Selden 2007 and revised by Harper et al. So one of the fossils that are abundant in the site are brachiopods. We see a really good representation of spurifer brachiopods. There's actually a multitude of different shapes for these. I'll talk a little bit more about those in a minute or so. We're seeing a tripa, we're seeing unculus, we're seeing orthida, we're seeing really quite a nice range of these middle brachiopods, all represented in this formation and the one that we're going to be visiting later on today. A word about these spurifers. They have a huge variety of different shapes and sizes. You have some with the very stretched out, almost wing-like structures on their end. The pleura sticks out very widely. They also usually have a furrow or a bulge going down opposite sides of the center of the spurifer brachiopod. So they're very distinctive. We'll be seeing a lot of these, as well as other varieties of Middle Devonian brachiopods at this site. So John has found well, actually this is not from this site, this is from another site he visited before coming here. He found a calcite stalactite, and if you actually turn it on this angle, you can actually see the concentric rings. Let me just put this on micro. You can see the concentric rings as the calcite was deposited. Thank you very much, John, for showing us that.
It's very nice that they broke all this up.
Yeah, a lot easier to work with than last time when it was all in a formation. Now it's all loose. Beautiful sight though. So just try and picture what this was like 380 or so million years ago. This wasn't a hillside in the middle of the state of New York. This was a fairly deep sea with all kinds of sea creatures living in it. First of all, thank you for finding my camera after I dropped it. And John?
John, yes.
Yep, John. Okay, John, what would you like to show us?
Oh, this.
All right. So looking over here here you have Zoophycus.
That's what that is. Okay, it always looks like a flow pattern.
Yes, it basically had these. We think it was a lot like a worm in nature. It had these fan-like things that would sort of scrape through the sediment, and you get its nutrients that way.
Okay, that's what that is. I know I have several of them, and I know it looked like a swirl pattern. It wasn't just, it was something.
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. It's a trace fossil. There are no preserved examples of Zoophycus. We don't know exactly what it looked like.
Well, probably very soft body.
Yes. Yeah. Probably a worm. And you have some nice brachiopods over here. Very nice. Oh, John, what do you have?
I don't know.
That I believe is a gastropod.
Sideways, maybe.
You're looking part just a little bit is sticking up over the through the rock, and the rest is probably inside it.
I think here's more of that worm you were talking about.
Oh yeah, more Zoophycus, more. Yeah, you do have a lot more of those swirl patterns on it from the Zoophycus.
Thing is, how do I separate this rock without shattering it, breaking it, and ruining everything?
You might
very carefully.
That might be a piece that you might want to just preserve whole. You know, put some, and maybe cut it a little bit with a tile saw, maybe if you want to take off the edges.
Tile saw?
A tile saw.
Okay. Is this
that's right.
a hand tile saw?
Yes, you could actually take a sharpener, one of those sharpener grinders, and put a rock blade on it.
Okay, whatever. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Ed, what do you have?
I don't know.
Ooh, that is a head of a trilobite. And it's, I like the way it's sparkling too. That's awesome. But it looks like the head of a trilobite. I'm not sure if that's frost or if that's pyrite on it.
Not frost.
It is a golden trilobite.
Golden trilobite.
A golden trilobite.
I think I know.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Fred Buchanan.
Hi, Fred. Over here, we're looking at a small little, well, we're looking at a cephalopod. It's the one with that sort of ridge going down the center. We seem to be finding those over at the site here. Very nice.
At the far end. There. So what's the age
All this
we're at here?
All this, I believe, is the bottom of the Middle Devonian.
Yeah.
So it's not the early Devonian like we find in eastern New York.
Yeah.
It is the so central New York. We kind of get the Middle Devonian, and over by Penn-Dixie we get the Middle to Late Devonian.
As long as they're easy to open up like a book.
Yes. We're looking right.
My favorite. Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for showing us that.
That was really cool.
So even though most of these rocks are loose, for some reason I feel compelled to dig into this unexposed stuff. Don't know if it'll be worth it or not, but we'll see. Either way, every day is a good day fossil collecting.
How do I join, by the way?
Oh, you just fill out an application. It's I think it's like $15 a year, and
Really expensive.
Totally, it's breaking the bank.
and all these trips and the parties and stuff is all free. It's just that one
sweet.
fee.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm majoring in geology at Colgate. I'm a paleontology primary.
Oh,
I'm
awesome!
super interested, and we just happened to be here looking at fossils, and we're like, oh, there's people here.
Oh, really?
Fossil hunters. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, it's beautiful. And if it's okay, can I have your first names?
My name is Charlie.
Charlie?
I'm Audrey.
Audrey, okay. Thank you very much. Let me get a better look at that if I can.
Yeah, of course.
So there's the bottom. I'm going to just put. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you very much for showing us that.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So what we're
Yeah,
not
I'm
to get-
visualizing it here.
what we're looking at is the tail of a green ops, and the green ops, they're distinctive because of those almost like fang-like extensions off the
Right.
back of their pygidium.
Yeah.
So that is very typical green ops. It's very hard to find those intact, but it looks like there's a good chance it might be in there. So, like you said, one for a dent to
This
use
will be
with
my therapy for the next couple hours.
Yeah.
My occupational therapy.
looking at here is a little green ops trilobite. We have the tail here, very distinctive. We have the thorax here. The head is detached and up here. When the head's detached, it means it's probably a molt. So probably just the way a lobster sheds its shell, this is probably a green ops that shed its shell and lived to go on for another day or two or so. All right, see?
Yeah, very nice.
So we are looking at Mike's cephalopod. Mike has just found a really nice one. It is a little bit distorted. It looks like probably while these rocks are being compressed over time, its shape is a little bit changed, but
Hey, I'll take it.
yes. An intact cephalopod like that is always a good find.
Very nice. That's fine.
Let me put that in my pocket.
Yeah. Just don't put your hammer in your pocket with
Yeah.
it.
Why is this white?
Okay, so here we're looking at some of the original material is still on the shell. A lot of it dissolved, but there's still some left. I found one of them like that too a little bit earlier. So it's a mucus spirifer. So here we have the regular mollusk there with not much material left, but the mucus spirifer had just sort of a very bumpy shell. It retained a lot of the calcium.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The different cells, and you can
Yeah.
see how on some of it you have it's pyritized.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ian found a really nice coral and a part of a cephalopod which pyritized. Some more of that pyrite on it. Really nice. features. You can see the individual polyps of the coral. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think it's Diplora.
Diplora decay.
Diplora decay. That's what I think you have right there. That was, and the other half is in the rock you just pulled up.
Yeah.
So if you would tilt it upwards a little bit, if you would. There we go. I'll have to get a snapshot on it.
Looks pretty good though.
Yeah, let me. So we are at site number 2. As you can see, it's still a little bit on the chilly side. Site number 2. Also located upstate New York. So this is the area we're in. Apple tree way down there. And once again, this is another farm where we've been allowed to access a little bit of the quarry. I've already got my pry bar in, starting to work this. Found a little cephalopod, a couple of bivalves. Very similar stuff to what was at the last site. Anything in your rock, Ray?
What's that?
Anything in your rock?
More rock.
More rock.
Little bivalve, little gastropods.
Okay. So
Little or nothing.
So seeing what was living here a couple million years, well, hundreds of millions of years ago. All right, can I have your name if it's all right?
Rick?
Hi, Rick.
Hello there. I don't
And-
know what this is.
And we don't know what it is either. It's kind of very strange. It has the look of a cephalopod, but it has these matching little holes. And I've never seen this before.
Unless there were markings on the cephalopod shell or something.
It's well, they seem to go through the shell though, if it is a shell.
Little circles.
I don't know. I'm also going to take a photograph of that too, if I may. All right. So if you don't mind, tell us your name.
Jim,
Hi Jim, what'd you find?
I think I found the smallest cephalopod I've ever seen,
Yeah.
but it is complete.
Yeah, it is, right from head to toe. And it's one of those that has sort of like this ridge going down the whole thing. The name of the species escapes me. We did see a couple of these today, but very nice find. Yeah, this is the most complete one that we've seen.
Yeah. Usually I find bits and pieces, but this is kind of nice.
Sure is. Well, thank you for showing us that.
You're welcome.
First of all, what's your name?
Dick King
Hi.
from Connecticut.
Well, welcome.
Hi.
What can you show us what you found today?
Yeah, this is came just before the shrimp. It's a relative of the shrimp's called a Malacus straka. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the 2 valves, and then an animal would live in there that was kind of similar to a shrimp. This is his tail. It's got they usually have 3 forks on the tail, and those are broken off. But anyway, this when I get home, I'll take like Krylon from Home Depot.
Oh, Krylon clear coat.
And just put that. If you put that on a trilobite, or put it on you're not adding any color, but it'll make it jump right off the
Yes.
thing, So that's one thing I got. And then complete trilobite here. Where are we? Here we are. Here's the head of it.
Okay.
Okay, and then it wraps around, and here's the tail. But it's gonna. I've got a. This would require air abrasive in order to
get it out.
To get that out. And I've got a friend that lets me use his unit. Although I think I'll have him do it because he's a lot better than I am. But anyway, so that's called a green ops trilobite. I got excited when I saw this. I thought I might have something good. I saw the this, and first of all I thought, what the hell is that? And then I realized that it's the The ribs are pleura of a really big deplora.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, and you found the rest of it.
found the positive.
Yep.
And there is more there. Frequently the head wraps around and it's in there, but I don't think it is in this case, because I found the head nearby of a big,
Yeah.
so I think that was probably it. But there's more there, so I'm going to try to prep it when I get home. But I think that's probably pretty much it, though.
That is
So,
awesome.
well, it would been awesome if it'd been complete.
Well,
It's a big one.
thank you very much for showing us
Oh,
that,
yeah,
Dick.
sure thing.
So, this ends our fossil collecting in central New York. Let's take a look at some of the things that I found. So I'd like to show you this. This is a really good example of a razor clam. The genus and species escapes me at the moment, but the modern or common word for it would be a razor clam. But this is a Middle Devonian example. And over here is a nice example of a cephalopod. This one's probably an Orthoceras, can't say for sure, but I'm leaning towards that's what it is. That's what it looks like to me. And here we have a nice external mold of another cephalopod. Over here we're looking at two pieces of what I think are two different ammonites. Next we have this piece over here, which is just loaded with brachiopods. Just want a nice example of that. A couple of big spurifers and a variety of smaller ones. Speaking of brachiopods, we have this beautiful one right over here. Really kind of highlighted well with the little bit of calcium and iron left in it. On this rock over here, we have a Phacops. Now it's very possible the rest of that trilobite is actually in the rock. I'm going to have to dig it out, see if there's more of that trilobite in there. Here we have what I believe is a beautiful little gastropod. There are several gastropods that I took home. We have this impression over here, and the mold that I think goes with it over here. We have the famous mucus spurifer, took home a bunch of those. I found these and wasn't really sure what it is, but I think now I have a better handle on it. This is that sort of bumpy, unusually shaped brachiopod that we see. Also found a couple of little trilobites. So this one over here has a very delicate but well-preserved tail of one of those green ops. On the other side is the head of a fairly large Phacopsia trilobite. So we got both of those in the one rock. That one's delicate, so we have to take care of it. A big swirl pattern from one of those Zoophicus. Another one of those razor clams, too bad it's broken. Another Phacopsia trilobite. I believe this is a cephalopod as opposed to a crinoid. I didn't see very many crinoids there, but I'm thinking this is more likely part of a segmented cephalopod. And speaking of cephalopods, here's another example of that variety that has the siphon that runs right through the center of it. I think that's what's causing that floaty ridge down the middle. Most of these squids and octopus had this, all these cephalopods had the siphon that runs through them. And I think that's what we're looking at. So I hope you enjoyed this fossil hunting and collecting video. Once again, if you like it, please hit subscribe and watch for more of these fossil hunting and collecting videos. Thank you.